Hey everyone, I'm Austin Harrison and I'm here from Ivy Studio to do a unboxing and reboxing of Brink, this beautiful game in front of me. A little bit biased about that, but hopefully you agree. There are gonna be timestamps below. If you are just here for the reboxing because you have the game open on your table and you're trying to put it back, first off, there's a guide in the back of the rulebook, but if you'd like me to help, jump to that timestamp below in the YouTube video and I will be happy to help you through. Now, if you're here for the unboxing, that is where I'm starting obviously, because this is a pristine copy. And so I am going to dig in and experience this for the first time with you. This is my copy of the game and I have not seen a mass production final copy of the Brink Super Deluxe version. So we're gonna experience this together. All right, so this is the Super Deluxe copy. This is only available on our Kickstarters usually. Occasionally it'll be available at a conference if we have stock, but I think we are going to be out of this one for quite a while. The game itself is a little bit overpacked right now, but that's just because there is stuff in here that needs to be punched. Once your game is fully packed, it will not be overpacked. But first off, we have this holographic effect on the cover, which is quite nice. I really, really like that. Zach did a great job with that. So we're gonna move that over to the side here. And then we have the rule book, and we have a comic here, which this is the Knife's Edge comic, an ode to the first Moonrakers comic. So that is there. The reference for repacking your game that I was talking about just a second ago is right here in the back of the manual. So that will help you put it away if you don't want to come find me on YouTube. Cool. Next we have this would be the community hexes because they have the 2-color hexes here and then the gray wild purple hex for the cube there. And then this is a 4 favor cube hex. I really love the hollow effect on these. Hopefully you can see that as well as I can. Yeah, this one especially might be my favorite. That's awesome. Cool. I'm gonna punch this later, not make you sit along for me punching everything out, so we'll move on from there. Okay, so these are for your voting trays. We'll get to these in a second. All of these get punched out and they get stuck into your voting trays that are in your player boards, so we'll come back to those in a second. These are the player screens. We tried plastic player screens this time. We had done paper in the past for Fractured Sky and we wanted to try plastic. And I am quite happy with how these came out. So each faction has a different icon here and these are going to bend out and then they will sit in the tray when we get to that. So I have all of my colors here. We'll come back to those. This is the rival bag. It is used only in the 2-player mode of the game. And so this is somewhere where you'll trade cubes with the supply and occasionally the bag will vote in some of the big voting rounds. So that is an important thing if you're gonna be playing 2 players. Okay, so now we get to the board. This board is massive. I think it is our biggest board we have ever made. It is a 6-panel board, so it is quite large. And you can see that in all its glory if I move some stuff out of the way. It has quite a lot of spot UV. The spot UV looks way better than our original game that I played on for a long time. Let's see if I can get you any of that spot UV. Ooh. Definitely there. Yeah, this is exactly everything I hoped it would be. Awesome. I don't know about you, but I'm always really terrible at refolding 6-panel boards. Wow, that's the best I've ever done. Okay, next we get to the main hexes in the game. So these are the standard hexes, not the bonus hexes that you got if you backed on the Kickstarter. These are this is the starting hex here. These also have a hollow effect in the Super Deluxe. You can see those. And like I said, I'm not gonna punch all these, but I am gonna just show off the hollow because it's pretty swanky. When I repack the box, it will all be put in its tray and I won't have time to show all of these off. Super fun. Cool. Okay, this is just a packing protection thing, so you won't need this piece long term. You can recycle this. That's literally blank white paper there. So that's just for while it's shipping over in freight. Now we have all of our player trays, and this is the voting tray that I was talking about, that these go in. And since I said I wasn't gonna punch things, I am just gonna punch this one to show you how this works. And they all have a little reference to kind of put in the right order. So this has a yellow arrow going that way. So once you push that in, you just find the next one. This has a blue arrow going that way and a green one going that way. So that gets punched in. Cool. Once all these are in, they stay in. You don't take these back out. These are how it stays for the rest of the time. And that is going to sit in your player tray like so. And that will be there for when you are doing a vote. You can also, you could just remove the shield when you're voting. If you tuck all your cubes under that, you can just pop this off. Or you can physically take the tray out and put it in front of you and keep your tray shield on, like so. There we go. So that's that. There are 5 player trays. And something that we're gonna be talking about a little bit in the unboxing, there's space for all the player components under these cardboard panels there. All right, so only 4 of the player trays are on the top. There's a 5th one in the bottom. Okay. This is also just for packing. You can take it out. Doesn't have to be there. Okay, this is gonna sit on your board and it's gonna hold all of the faction objectives for the game. So each of the different factions, ships, and cards will be on this board. Then we have our hollow community card pack here. So that is going to have the small cards and the large cards that were part of our stretch goals on the campaign. And these ones are not hollow, but these ones will be. So see if I can get any of that hollow layer to shine. There we go. Ooh, that one really shows up. Nice, cool. Don't need to gush about everything that's hollow in the game. Although I might not be able to stop myself. Cool, we've got the other ambassador cards, the rival cards, and the player reference cards here. So there's the rival, that's for the 2-player mode, player reference cards, and then these will be all the ambassadors. Oh, and then there's the faction objectives. I'll bring this back for a second. So when you're playing, these will be layered in here like this. And they'll actually have some other parts that go with them, so I'll go ahead and pull those out. Got our first player token here. The metal one of this is going to be showing up, hopefully never, but I'm worried about it showing up in a murder trial eventually, because that thing is really heavy and pretty intense. But this one's plastic, so not nearly as dangerous, but still a cool piece. All right, so we got 2 more packs of cards. This would be our action cards. This would be our riders. Okay. This is all of our cubes and all of our player ships. And then also some of the, there's tape on it. That would be why I can't pull it off. I don't recommend taping this in your personal copy for long term, but probably helpful to have right now for shipping. Ta-da! Okay, so the player ships, I have the painted ones here because this is super deluxe. If you have a deluxe copy, they won't be painted. There are the player ships. Then we have all of the ship attachments and also the neutral ships. So things like the Magnamai flagship, which is this cool piece right here. The clear plastic gets put into that. So this now stands up and it goes right here. Ta-da! Got the shield lattice, that goes here. There's an engine somewhere. Yep, the Ventus engine. That goes there. And then the red cubes. 4 will go on here. And then this whole board will go on top of your board. There's also a hex. A purple hex. I wonder how fast I can find that. So that's what that board looks like set up, and that just goes on top of your board. Awesome. So then the cubes get put in their tray slots here. I'm a huge fan of how these cubes turned out. Playing originally with just normal cubes or on TTS, you didn't really get to appreciate the cube shapes. The cube shapes are one of my favorite things that we did on this campaign. Not just for accessibility reasons, but also just because it's cool. And then this orange is also different from when we were demoing the game. The orange was a different shade, and I can definitely tell apart this shade much better from the yellow, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. So yeah, that's what the tray would look like. We'd punch all of these hexes into these 3 sections here. That's where all the hexes go. And then I'll show you the rest when we do the reboxing. For now, we're gonna look at the bottom of the tray. So the bottom of the tray has spots for, let me move some stuff out of the way so you can actually see it. Bottom of the tray has spots for the red hexes and the purple Sorelia tile there. Then you have all of some cardwells and some places for the neutral pieces. And then the final player tray is down here in the bottom. All right, so that's the unboxing. I'm gonna take, we'll see how long it takes. I'll time it. I'll tell you when I come back. I'm gonna sleeve everything, and then I'm going to punch all of the hexes, and then I'm going to rebox it with you. So I'm not gonna make you wait for me to sleeve 100 some cards, so I'll be back in like, my guess is 10 minutes. Can I do it in 10 minutes? I hope so. I hope so. We'll see. Wish me luck. All right, we're gonna slow it back down. I'm at 18 minutes and 30 seconds. I am slower than I wanted to be, but you know, I think that wasn't too bad for punching and sleeving everything in the game. So I've left just a little bit of cleanup left to do. This is where we are starting the put it back in the box phase. So this is the reboxing of Brink, the Super Deluxe Edition. It includes the bonus hex pack, it includes the community cards, so this is just about as much as could possibly fit in this box. So first off is I wanted to show you what putting a player tray back together looks like. So you have your different player colored components. This is the blue player. I took off this piece here, and I am putting the small ship, the big ship, and the medium ship in their obvious wells. The cargo containers go on the right side down here. The ship cannons go on the right side here, left side, I know my sides. And then the player markers go in the center, and then this goes back on, and then this is ready to be put away, which we will get back to in just a second. All right, so now I just finished playing. I've folded up the board, but I've put all my cubes back in this tray, but my hexes are everywhere. It doesn't matter really where these hexes go. You might want to shuffle them up so you don't have to do it the next game. But basically all these hexes are just going to lay in here. until you have fairly equal piles, like so. All right, pretty dang equal. Okay, oh, I forgot some. The purple hex does not go there. That'll go in the box, we'll show that next. Okie dokie. It's hard to tell if they're perfectly even or not. Luckily, it doesn't matter. All right, once you have those in there, the lid is going to snap into place on those. And then the starting hex here will go on top right there. All right, we're gonna put that off to the side for just a second as we bring in the main box. Awesome, okay. Spin around this way so you have some better lighting. Okay, so we have the first thing you want to put in is your red hexes. I've found that having them stand up on their side is a little bit easier, though not necessary for fitting them in there. It's a tighter fit than I probably would have liked, but they will all go in one layer. So once you have all of them in there in the correct orientation, you can grab the other ones from the play area. So we have 4 more to add to that. One more to go. Oh. Ta-da! Cool. Then your purple hex goes on top of that, just like so. Okay. All right, then one of your player trays goes in the bottom down here, like so, and it will sit right there. And then your cubes and hexes go on top. Taking this off might make it a little bit easier, whoa, Austin, to get in there. All right, now we put this in the middle. Okay, the next part is going to be some of your cards, and then also the player pieces, the central neutral pieces. So, oh dear, I did not put that in there very well. This goes in the back of the red ship if you weren't here for the setup, and you just push it in there like that, and that sits there. This piece sits here. First player marker sits there, and I put the yellow engine in there with that. Okay, this will sit on top of here. It's helpful if you put it in this orientation versus this orientation, because if you do that, this sits up a little too high. This does rest on this just a little bit anyway, but it won't cause any problems, especially once the cards are in here. So I start by taking some of the action cards, and I put them in this first well down here. It's really up to you how many you want to put in there. I usually put them in there until it is full. And then obviously we'll compress a little bit, but my other tray is not to the top, so I can have those in there like so. Same with my riders. And then we have the ambassadors and the other player cards, which are the reference cards, the rival cards, and the objective cards. So this is where we have had a lot of questions. How do the large cards fit in the box sleeved? So the challenge of making a box that works for sleevers and non-sleevers is this is literally double the space of what a normal card set is. And so we try to make a box that works for both every time. In this case, I think we flew a little bit too close to the sun because it is very hard to make a box as small as possible while still fitting everything. And while I do think everything fits in here nicely, it definitely could have fit better. The end story is it fits, the box lid closes without lift, we're happy with it. I think always we learn lessons from every box that we make, and this one is there needs to just be more obvious space for these cards. So the next card set we will, the next box that we make for a game, we will endeavor to do that a little bit better. So anyway, these are gonna go in this well here. And you wanna make sure that they actually nest in there. And then this one goes on the side over here. And then this one will sit on top of that. So if you want to see how I did that, This has the purple hex and the red things under it. This has the non-ambassador large cards under it, and then has action cards. And then this is the ambassador cards that will go on top of there. All of that sits nice and snug once I actually put it in the right spot. And then this goes on top like so. All right, at that point, we are just putting player trays, 2 going this way, like so, and 2 going this way, like so. All of that goes on top. And she's closed. Ta-da! Box lift wise, we are totally fine. There is no box lift on there. Now, if you let it go, obviously it'll drift a little bit, but it's shut. That's Brink, Super Deluxe. Hope you found this helpful. Going back in to the components. All of this is where it should be, including all of the cards. Take these out. These are right where I left them. If I had better fingernails. All that's where it should be. So hopefully that was a good unboxing. I feel weird leaving this like this. Now I have to rebox it, but I'm gonna cut before that because that just seems ridiculous to have you here for. But I just wanted to show you things are in their spot. Cool, thanks everyone. Hopefully you got what you came here looking for. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We'll be happy to help answer them there. Appreciate you.